German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has warned the people behind hybrid attacks against his country as investigators widen the probe into suspected sabotage at Leipzig-Halle Airport using drones.
Deutschland schreckt ab. Die Bundesregierung erlegt Urhebern hybrider Angriffe einen Preis auf. Sie werden dafür bezahlen.
Investigators found a third drone on August 14, 10 days after an earlier incident involving a drone found near a Ukrainian cargo plane. They also found around 50 grams of suspected military explosive near the airport. Beyond the airport, officers also found a possible drone control device, an antenna, and electronic components attached to a tree, along with scorched earth and metal fragments that could indicate a blast site. The initial incident on 5th of August caused flight diversions after an unidentified flying object was spotted near the airport. X-ray analysis later identified it as a drone. German authorities have repeatedly suspected Russia of orchestrating drone incidents as part of sabotage, espionage, and disinformation campaigns, although Moscow has denied involvement. Germany's Air Navigation Service recorded 144 drones overflights last year, including 35 around Frankfurt Airport.
The European Union has approved Ukraine's next spending envelope of €6.1 billion for defense procurement as part of the bloc's €90 billion loan program, the EU executive announced on Monday. The approval comes as Ukraine marks 35 years of independence amid a rise in civilian deaths from Russian attacks due to Kyiv's shortage of air defense systems. According to a statement by the European Commission, the defense funding aims to supply Kyiv with air and missile defense systems, missiles, ammunition, and radars. The funding also comes as EU leaders participated in key meetings in Kyiv on Monday, including the Coalition of the Willing meeting, aimed at drumming up additional air support and energy supplies for Ukraine as it edges closer to winter. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and First Lady Olena Zelenska honored the memory of fallen soldiers on Monday as the country marked their Independence Day. Zelensky and his wife laid flowers at the Wall of Remembrance, a memorial to Ukraine's fallen defenders, alongside other European leaders as part of the official celebration. No delegates from the Trump administration were present at the ceremony marking the Independence Day as Russia pushes on with its more than 4-year-old invasion of the country.
The United Nations and the Red Cross warned that the world is dangerously close to a future where autonomous weapons, so-called killer robots, could target humans. The organizations called for urgent international regulations as there is currently no specific treaty on autonomous and AI-enabled weapons.
3 years ago, we called on states to establish specific provisions and restrictions on autonomous weapon systems. Today, we renew this call with even greater urgency. The fundamental concerns remain unchanged, but the risks have intensified. We are now dangerously close to crossing a moral red line, the autonomous targeting of humans by machines.
In 2023, the UN and the Red Cross called for states to establish specific bans and restrictions on the rapidly developing technology by this year. Lethal autonomous weapon systems are able to select targets and apply force without human intervention. There has to date been no confirmed use of fully autonomous weapons, but with the abundant use of drone warfare in the Middle East and Ukraine, some fear it could soon happen. After 3 years of talks, countries are set to decide in November whether to launch treaty negotiations. Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said that Armenia would begin preparing to apply for EU membership. It represents a historic geopolitical shift for a country formerly in Russia's orbit and for the South Caucasus as a whole. In a speech to Parliament, Pashinyan said Armenia would organize a referendum after formally applying to join the EU in the near future. Armenia is currently a member of the Russia-led Collective Security Treaty Organization. Yerevan was given an ultimatum a few months ago from alliance members to choose between continuing its membership or taking its own path towards the EU. Russian President Vladimir Putin also made it clear Armenia's EU accession would be incompatible with Yerevan's Eurasian Economic Union membership.
В таможенном союзе с Евросоюзом и с Евразией невозможно. Это просто невозможно по определению.
In a response to Pashinyan's announcement, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said that Armenia's departure from the CSTO may trigger what he called deep trade contradictions that will primarily harm Armenia. Usually peaceful, the French resort town of Les Deux Alpes was at the center of a controversy a few days ago following a video that went viral on social media in which the manager of this snack bar makes anti-Semitic remarks.
C'est qui on est trop nombreux, madame?
La communauté juive, vous êtes trop nombreux.
Et alors?
C'est qu'à un moment donné, ça excède les gens.
Ça excède les gens?
Mais bien sûr.
An investigation has been launched following this incident, but the incident has cast a chill over the resort, which Orthodox Jewish families have been visiting every summer for decades.
Disons que ça met une mauvaise ambiance sur la station. Ils ne coopèrent pas du tout, ils ne participent à rien, ni restauration, ni bar. Ni activités, enfin juste les activités des enfants, les jeux, c'est tout.
This incident has also sparked a lot of talk and brought to light potential sources of tension that may exist in alpine resorts between the local population and vacationers.
Il y a d'autres personnes, même quand on marche dans la rue avec les enfants, qui parlent mal aux enfants parce qu'ils ont des kippotes. C'est-à-dire que les gens sont frustrés, qu'il y a des enfants, qu'il y a beaucoup de juifs. Donc c'est pas la seule finalement.
Bon, quand j'étais à Tignes, il y avait des problématiques sur par exemple la piscine, sur le fait de devoir se baigner, que les hommes, que les femmes, il fallait que les maîtres nageurs soient du même sexe que les baigneurs. Et c'est vrai que c'est des fonctionnements qu'on n'a pas, donc qui peuvent, je ne sais pas si conflit c'est le bon mot, mais en tout cas il y a une nécessité d'ajustement et des fois c'est des points bloquants tout simplement.
The mayor of Uez also responded to the controversy. He said he remembers moments of tension in the past, but he assured that the situation has improved significantly.
Roofs were torn off and homes were damaged after a tornado tore through a village in the southwest of France on Monday, injuring 41 people. The tornado hit the village of Beaumas, where the destruction was significant. An estimated 300 homes were damaged. Over 120 emergency workers were deployed to the scene and reinforcements are expected from nearby regions. Authorities said 15 people were taken to the hospital. Videos circulating online show an impressive vortex of wind moving through several communities. The National Weather Service said winds had reached up to 117 kilometers per hour. French authorities had placed several regions of the country's southwest on orange alert for storms. Numerous areas were hit by power outages. The storms also upended the transportation network, delaying trains, forcing road closures and causing delays and cancellations at airports in Bordeaux, Marseille, Nice, Toulouse and even Paris.
Around 3,000 people in Indonesia's South Sumatra province have performed a special Islamic prayer for rain as huge blazes continue to scorch swaths of forest and peatlands in the central and western regions. They met in the courtyard of the governor's office as thick smoke shrouded roads, buildings, and public facilities, significantly reducing visibility. South Sumatra Governor Herman Duru said the prayers would complement ongoing firefighting and drought mitigation measures. He added that it would also serve as a moment for residents to unite in confronting the environmental challenges facing the province. South Sumatra has the highest number of wildfire hotspots in all of Indonesia, with the latest government data recording its tally at 1,429, followed by West Kalimantan, which sat at 1,226. Officials say wildfires have so far burned an area close to 1,000 square kilometers in July alone, with 20 square kilometers in the southeastern province. 1 million children in Afghanistan are suffering from life-threatening malnutrition in a worsening new crisis hitting the country, the United Nations warned on Tuesday. UNICEF's Afghanistan representative Tajuddin Oyewali said that if there is no treatment or rapid intervention, those children are at risk of dying. The UN agency added that the total amount of malnourished children has surpassed 3.7 million across the country, though most are not classified as severe cases. Afghanistan has endured repeated periods of widespread hunger in recent decades as it had struggled through civil war and other crises. An economic collapse followed the Taliban government's return to power after US-led forces withdrew in 2021, creating instabilities greatly affecting children. Ayuwali said that nearly 40% of children admitted to hospitals with severe wasting and medical complications were babies under the age of 6 months old. Meanwhile, children under 2 years of age make up more than 80% of severe acute malnutrition cases in Afghanistan.
Germany's economy grew more than previously expected in the second quarter, with GDP rising 0.3% from April to June. The revised figure from the Federal Statistical Office was higher than the initial estimate of 0.2%. Year-on-year, GDP increased by 1%, revised from 0.9%. Exports rose 2%, helping drive growth, while household and government consumption increased only 0.1%. Manufacturing output also rose by 0.9%, led by the chemical and electrical equipment industries. Beyond the latest growth figures, Germany's Ifo Business Climate Index rose to 88.8 in August from 86.7 in July, suggesting improving sentiment across major sectors. However, high energy prices and weak domestic demand remain risks. Germany's government now expects the economy to grow by 0.5% in 2026, down from its previous forecast of 1%. The economy has struggled in recent years amid high energy costs, stronger Chinese competition, and US tariffs.